Good evening. Is everybody enjoying the reunion? All those that I've not had a chance yet to welcome today, I'd like to welcome all of you to the Reunion 2010. I'm Dr. Jake Schodden. I am a graduate of 2003, and I'm president-elect of the Alumni Association. For those of you who have been with us the last couple of days, I hope you've been enjoying yourselves. I hear through the grapevine the class gatherings last night were particularly festive. So for those who have just joined us, we're glad you were able to make it here this evening. So we have a great program tonight. First there's business, a brief annual meeting, including the election of Alumni Association leaders. This will be followed by class gift presentations, the 2010 Alumni Awards, and a special college update from our president, Dr. Larry Goodwin. So I will move straight to business, and this would be our annual meeting. So first, I will ask all of the Alumni Board of Directors who are present to stand as I read their names. First, Patricia Bauer-Jernigan, Anthony Brinda, Joanne Doctor, Laura Johnson, Kim Kalinowski, Diane Keaty, Carm Lemon, Barry Lesser, Kay Lavasser, Yvonne McComber, Nathan Miller, Jerry Caracas-Moen, Carol Northcutt, Jackie Pemrick, Sister Claudia Rio, Melinda Smith, and Andrew Thielander. I present to you your hardworking Alumni Board of Directors. So all of us alumni here tonight represent the Alumni Association, and we'll need a voice vote from you for all the nominations on the slate that was in your registration packet. And so our nominees for returning board directors for a second three-year term are Melinda Smith of class of 1996. All those in favor of extending her term, please say aye. Aye. All those not in favor, please say nay. All right. And we have three new board members that are up for the approval of the association tonight. They are Mary Carlson, a graduate of 1976, resident of Hermantown, Minnesota. Katie DeGrio Channing, a graduate of 2000 and who resides in St. Paul, and Jackie Larson, a graduate of 2009 who lives in Duluth. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those not in favor, please say nay. All right, well, thank you. I'm also going to take a moment to acknowledge Kay Lavasser, who was not able to be with us tonight as an outgoing member. I wanted to thank Kay for her hard work on the board. So our nominee for Alumni Association Board Vice President, who will serve a two-year term, is Patricia Bauer-Jernigan, again, class of 1983. We also need to approve her tonight, so all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those not in favor, please say nay. All right. Well, we're moving quickly along, and next is the class gift presentation. At this time, I would ask Dr. Goodwin to join me on stage to receive the class gifts. Dr. Goodwin joined the college in 1987 as Dean of Faculty, and he became president in 1998. We have all benefited from his belief in the college, his work on behalf of our mission, and his ability to inspire others in service. Please join me in welcoming President Goodwin. We want to thank the classes represented here tonight for their generosity and commitment to the college. Their gifts support the Tower Fund. This is one of our highest fundraising priorities. The fund makes critical resources available to students, which include scholarships, new academic programs, library and computer services, faculty development, and support for student clubs and organizations. Individual gifts to the Tower Fund, no matter the size, are critical. Not only do they support important programs and services, but they signal our alums' investment in the college and its future. Participant rates serve as the measure by which corporations and foundations rate alumni involvement. This is an important consideration for these groups when making major gifts to colleges and universities. College guidebooks, such as U.S. News and World Report, use alumni giving rates to determine college rankings. As our ranking increases, so does the value of a St. Scholastica degree. Now I'd like to invite the class representatives to step forward and allow us to acknowledge their generous gifts, their investments in our future. Our checks were printed yesterday, and since then, we have received additional gifts. The amounts I will be announcing include all gifts that were received after the checks were printed. First up is the class of 1990. The class of 1990 is celebrating its 20th anniversary and is presenting a gift in the amount of $4,640 with 16% class participation. Well done, and thank you. Next is the class of 1985. The class of 1985 is celebrating its 25th anniversary and is presenting a gift in the amount of $13,598 with 24% participation. Thank you so much for your gift. The class of 1980 is celebrating its 30th anniversary and is presenting a gift in the amount of $3,480 with 22% participation. Thanks, class of 1980. Your gift is appreciated. Next is the class of 1975, celebrating its 35th anniversary, and is presenting a gift in the amount of $27,846 with 26% participation. Well done, class of 1975. The class of 1970 is celebrating its 40th anniversary and is presenting a gift in the amount of $128,736. That is too large a number for me here. So 37% participation. Thank you so much. The class of 1965, please step forward. Class of 1965 is celebrating its 45th anniversary and is presenting a gift in the amount of $3,335 with 40% participation. What a wonderful donation. Thank you. The class of 1960 is celebrating its 50th anniversary, earlier inducted into the Heritage Club were all these members, and is presenting a gift in the amount of $115,650 with 47% participation. Thank you so much for your gift. The class of 1955 is celebrating its 55th anniversary and is presenting a gift in the amount of $44,029 with 52% participation. Thank you so much, class of 55. Class of 1950 is celebrating its 60th anniversary, and it is presenting a gift in the amount of $6,435 with 42% participation. Thank you for your gift. Finally, I'd like to invite the class of 1945 to step forward. The class of 1945 is celebrating its 65th anniversary and is presenting a gift in the amount of $1,418 with 34% participation. Thank you, class of 1945. The grand total for all class gifts was $349,267, with a combined class gift participation rate of 28%. The class of 1970 has the largest class gift total, and the class of 1955 has the highest participation rate. Thank you, classes. Again, many thanks for your support, and a special thank you to the hardworking class representatives who not only helped plan a great reunion, but also encouraged giving from their classmates. Let's show them our appreciation. Now I'll turn the mic over to President Goodwin, who will announce the annual Alumni Awards. Thanks.
We have 4 awards this evening. The first is the Sister Ann Edward Scanlon Award that recognizes a graduate who has demonstrated outstanding dedication to the College of St. Scholastica and to his or her community. Becky Urbanski-Junkert is this year's recipient. After graduating in 1980, Becky served as Director of Community Services at the St. Louis County Heritage and Arts Center. She then joined the staff of the college, eventually becoming its Vice President for Admissions and Student Financial Planning. During her tenure, the college achieved the highest undergraduate enrollment in its history up to that point. Becky left St. Scholastica to assume the position of Senior Vice President of Mission and Community Affairs for the Benedictine Health System, where she has led system-wide branding initiatives to strengthen and support the organization's heritage and identity, and developed a system-wide integrated marketing and communications planning model used by acute care and long-term care organizations. She leads all of the educational activities for BHS, including major conferences and leadership development programming. Becky is nationally recognized for her mission integrated assessment process, and she is the marketing and communications consultant to BHS participating organizations. That's 40 facilities in 7 states. Becky is active in the National Catholic Health Association, the Catholic Healthcare Communication Forum, the Minnesota Health Strategy and Communication Network, and the Society for Healthcare Marketing and Strategy for the American Hospital Association. Her appreciation of Benedictine values is demonstrated in her professional, personal, and community life. Becky is always seen as respectful of the dignity of work, of people, and of learning. She is generous with her ability as a flautist in her church, at St. Scholastica Monastery, and at all BHS prayer rituals and major conferences. There can be no doubt that Becky is deserving of this prestigious award. Please join me in congratulating her.
You want to make some remarks? Let's take a picture too.
Well, hello, everyone. Obviously, this is a wow moment for me. When Sister Tim called, a little while ago, a couple months ago, to tell me this great news, I really thought she was calling to check dates for when I could play my flute with the Monastery Contemporary Music Group. And I think I might have even said to Sister Tim that, I've got my calendar right here, and she said, that's not what I'm calling about. So anyway, I had the good fortune of, like many of you, to know Sister Ann Edward during my time when I was working at the college, and when she was the International Student Advisor. Sister Ann Edward was a woman of compassion, tenacity, and great strength, and I am just so honored to receive this recognition in her name. It has been a privilege to have served in the Sisters' ministries for most of my career. The Duluth Benedictines have been great role models for me in so many ways. So I'd like to thank the Alumni Association, Sister Tim, Dr. Goodwin, and all the sisters for this very special honor. Thank you.
The Sister Alice Lamb Award honors a graduate who has demonstrated dedication to his or her profession and has continued to be committed to the College of St. Scholastica. This year, the award is presented to Mary Busing-Schwanke, a 1970 nursing graduate of the college. After graduation, Mary went on to earn her master's degree in pediatric nursing from Yale University. She and some of her Yale colleagues worked to create the National Association of Pediatric Nurse Associates and Practitioners, which continues to be an important voice in the field. Mary has taught in the Pediatric Nurse Practitioner program at the University of Minnesota. She currently works as a pediatric nurse practitioner in the Twin Cities and continues to precept nurse practitioner students. As a practitioner, Mary works with an at-risk multicultural patient population, and in some instances, she has provided care to 3 generations in the same family over her 35-year career. In all of her work, Mary demonstrates dedication and commitment to patients, families, and her community. One of the people who nominated Mary says of her, Mary's passion and commitment to her clients is unwavering as she works hard to assure the best quality of care despite bureaucratic, cultural, and budgetary challenges. Mary was a class representative for her 35th class reunion and frequently attends alumni reunions and other special college events. She and her husband Larry have generously supported the college in the Imagine Tomorrow campaign and in the current campaign for the expansion of our science building. She's a true believer in the college's mission, and she helps us to carry it out. Mary, we're proud to present you this year's Sister Alice Lamb Award.
I would like to thank you for this Sister Alice Lamb Award presented on behalf of the Alumni Association. I am very humbled and honored. For the past 35 years, as has been said, I have been practicing as a pediatric nurse practitioner in St. Paul, Minnesota. As a pioneer in this field, I just happened to be around at the beginning of the nurse practitioner movement. I had the opportunity to be involved in the Pediatric Nurse Practitioner Association and to be a clinical instructor for pediatric nurse practitioner students. This allowed me to promote a profession that I felt complemented and enhanced other healthcare professionals, and most importantly, improved the delivery of healthcare to children. When I was first in practice, there was pressure to go on to be more involved in nurse practitioner education and research. But for me, the most rewarding part of my practice was direct patient care. And there I stayed. All of these opportunities have enriched my life. How did St. Scholastica, the Benedictine values, and Sister Alice Lamb shape my career? I never had Sister Alice for a class, but all three of the namesakes of the Sisters Awards were at the college when I was a student. They were all inspiring to me, talented, smart, dedicated women. Sister Alice spent 52 years of her career at the college, just as I have spent my whole career in clinical practice, so I feel that commitment, connection, and a steadfastness to do the same thing every day. That really is never the same. That resonates with me. A theme at the college when I was here was that this college was educating us to be young, dynamic Christian women. The college was not co-ed until the year I graduated. We sometimes joked about this statement, but over my career I realized how much meaning that has had in my life. A rule of St. Benedict is that God does not demand the unusual, the spectacular, or the heroic, but to do the most ordinary and dreary that face us each day with an openness as a way to God. Much of patient care is not spectacular, despite how it's portrayed on television. But as I care for my patients and journey through their life with them, I'm amazed and inspired by their stories. They have reminded me of the need to be open to the new, the different, and the ever-changing, to be accepting of others for who they are, and to give of myself. These values were a foundation of my education at St. Scholastica. To me, that is what it is meant to be a young, dynamic Christian woman. Thank you.
The St. Scholastica Inspiration Award honors a staff or faculty person whose interest and care for the students has helped them grow, change an attitude, or maybe even change direction. Dr. Chandra Mehrotra has been selected to receive the award this year. Dr. Mehrotra came to St. Scholastica more than 40 years ago. He has taught psychology, statistics, and the psychology of aging. He is a fellow of the American Psychological Association, and he is recognized as a national expert in the psychology of aging. His summer institutes at the college, funded by the National Institute of Health, have an international reputation. Chandra has had a powerful influence on generations of students, many of whom credit him for much of their success. One former student says of him, "As a struggling student of statistics, I found Dr. Mehrotra to be always available, supportive, and encouraging. He was and is committed to helping students achieve success. He builds relationships, opens communication, and encourages critical thinking." Another former student says, "The lessons we learned from him as a person were far more valuable and enduring than the course material. His teaching style combined critical thinking with creative problem solving and helped open our minds to new disciplines and expand our intellectual horizons. But it was his patience, humor, and genuine concern for each individual that made the deepest impression." Among the life lessons that students recall learning from Chandra are the following. Altitude is important. Set your standards and your sights high. Time invested in building relationships yields great dividends. Plus, you'll never have to face emotional bankruptcy. Continue to ask, why is that? And like a young child, you will always learn new ways to understand and navigate your world. One person says simply, "I am a psychologist today because of the impact of Chandra Mehrotra. When I teach a psychology course, mentor a research group, or work with a difficult student, I think of his example. Thank you, Chandra." Chandra, in recognition of the great influence you have had as a great teacher of so many students, we are happy today to honor you with the St. Scholastica Inspiration Award.
I'm touched. I'm really touched by this honor and don't have words to express my heartfelt appreciation to all of you, to the college community, and to the Benedictine Sisters of Duluth. As Dr. Goodwin mentioned, I came here 40 years ago without knowing anything about the college and about Duluth. I did not know anything about Duluth winters. In fact, I never applied for a job here. I already had a full-time job at Educational Testing Service, doing GREs and SATs and program evaluation work. And I was not looking for work, but when I got a call from Sister Ardell at the college, I was pleasantly surprised. I clearly remember the phone conversation I had with Sister, and she said, just come here and visit us. So then I came, and two sisters met me at the airport and brought me to the college. And the first person I saw at the college was Sister Mary Richard Boo, who was the president of the college at that time. In about 10 minutes in her office, she offered me the position. And I spent the night in the guest room here, in this building, Tower Hall. I had no place to live. I really experienced the place I was going to spend 40 years. In fact, when I came here and I had no place to live, I had no home, no car. My wife had a car at that time in Evanston. So I stayed in Summers Hall for a month almost and experienced the culture, the sisters, and the environment. And I had dinner and lunch and breakfast there. So thus I have experienced the hospitality the sisters talk about, that they live from day one in many, many ways. So when I became the chair of psychology, you'll be amused to hear the first order that I made, first item that I ordered. Those were 3 calculators. Because people those days could not buy calculators. And they were so noisy that I had to find a private room, separate room for calculators at the end of the hall, so they won't interrupt the class instruction. I still remember those calculators, this big size, with lot of keys. Of course, no computers at that time. This is talking about 1970. But the question is, why did I stay here that long? And the main reason is you, the students. I always found the students eager to learn, sincere, conscientious, respectful, genuine, and hardworking, and full of energy. It is their energy that always energizes me. What you don't understand, what the students don't understand, they would ask me questions in the classroom and very often outside the classroom, and sometimes in the evenings. If a person did not do well in the exam, he or she would retake the exam. I remember a student in a wheelchair who, for some reason, did not do well. She always come and talk with me about what she can do, and then came next day and took the exam again and did perfect answer. Her mother, who brought her, I asked her, I said, what does she do? She said, I'm just a chauffeur, I just bring her here. I don't know what she does. There are many, many such stories of students I had to work with who have performed extremely well, and I continue to see them at unexpected places and often hear from them at different times of the year, especially during the holidays. The second reason I've stayed here at the college is the culture of the college. While I've been here for such a long time, 40 years, But no 2 years have been alike. The college has allowed me, in fact, encouraged me to pursue new directions, to undertake new projects, to develop new courses, to design new programs, and to design and explore new modes of reaching people who have been underserved in the past, new modes of delivery in Brainerd, Grand Rapids, Virginia, and so on, including Marshall, Minnesota. I have very much appreciated this opportunity to create new programs and new services to serve the region, which is very often forgotten in St. Paul, and new ways of serving people who have been underserved in the past. Reviewers at National Institute of Health and National Science Foundation, now United Nations, have always told me how much they see in my applications the collaboration from the college. They always cite one of the strengths of the applications, the support that I get from Dr. Goodwin and from other members of his team. An extremely important reason that I've stayed here is the benefit heritage of the college, the sisters. From the very beginning, sisters have welcomed me with open arms and have made me feel at home in my new home. As my children often said, my dad lives here. As the number of sisters who currently teach at the college may be smaller than when I first came here, but their values permeate the environment and are reflected in all that we do. In fact, I have always felt the presence of the higher power on our campus. It is He who takes care of us. The Benedictine values are indeed universal values. In Sanskrit, there is a saying which says, Vasudev Kutumbakum, explaining that this whole universe is my family. These values indeed affect us on a daily basis and make a difference in our lives. I consider myself indeed very fortunate to have the opportunity to experience the values of hospitality, love of learning, respect, stewardship, and community. In fact, I may be a only Hindu Benedictine here on campus. I'm grateful for being a small part of this hospitable learning community that welcomes and accepts people regardless of their background. So, I thank you for allowing me to work with you and to learn with you in an environment that inspires all of us to do our best. Thank you very much.
The Sister Timothy Kirby Benedictine Spirit Award honors a graduate for professional achievement and for exemplifying the Benedictine values. This year, the award is presented to John Foucault. John is a lifelong resident of Duluth. This is John's son, I'll explain. John is a lifelong resident of Duluth, having graduated from Denfeld High School and from the college with a bachelor's degree in computer information systems. As a college senior, he received the Outstanding Achievement Award, a harbinger of things to come. John began his career at Maurice's. 10 years later, he founded Points North, an IT company that develops software products that are integral to business operations aligned with payroll processing. Points North has worked with clients throughout the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Jamaica, and South Africa. John has been active in the community as a founder of the Northland Technology Consortium as a board member and board chair of the Duluth Area Chamber of Commerce and as a member of Rotary and Kiwanis. Mentoring computer students from St. Scholastica has been one of John's passions, and he has been very supportive of the annual Thanksgiving in the Spring event at the college. An alum who met him only once said of him, "He strikes me as a man with strong character, honest, and committed to integrity. He has proven that he is a lifelong learner by adapting to the technical field. He has also assisted others in this area by being a mentor." John is currently out of the country, but his son Nicholas, who is a sophomore at St. Scholastica, will accept the award on behalf of his father. Do you want to say anything? And then I'll give you the award afterwards, and we'll take a picture.
Well, like he said, my name's Nick Foucault, and I'm going to be a junior here in the fall. And I'm pleased to accept this award on behalf of my father. He's unable to be here because of a previously scheduled trip to Rome with my mother. He's asked me to pass on his sincere thanks as the recipient of this award. When Sister Timothy called him, he was honored to hear that he was nominated, and he feels privileged to have been selected as his recipient. He credits his personal and professional accomplishments as a result of his education here at Scholastica, and he's committed to continuing as a role model in living the Benedictine values throughout all the aspects of his life. My dad asked me to acknowledge his parents, as he wouldn't be who he is today without their love and support, and they, as well as my father's in-laws, are pleased to be here this evening to accept this award on his behalf. Thank you.
Thank you, President Goodwin. Congratulations to this year's award winners. We have more applause coming, so at this time, I'd like to acknowledge past Alumni Award recipients who are also here this evening. If you're with us, please stand, and let's also give them a round of applause. As some of you may or may not know, there's exciting things that continue to happen at this college, and I'm anxious to hear a little bit more about what's been going on at St. Scholastica this year. So at this time, we'll have President Goodwin give us an update.
Well, good evening, Saints. Welcome home. Tonight I can report to you that even in a difficult economy, our school is doing well. Our enrollment this year was 3,746, which is the largest ever. And we project a healthy bottom line when we close the books this coming week. Our fall projections are running ahead of what we budgeted, and in fact, our deposits at this point are ahead of any other year, including the year that we added football for enrollment purposes. In this recession, the college has really doubled down on its Benedictine value of stewardship. We have not laid off a single worker or cut salaries or benefits. What I'd like to do for a few minutes is review 3 of our college's top priorities this year. And they are expanding our online programming, engaging the campus community in a discussion about the Catholic tradition, and enlarging our science building. So let me begin with online programming. In my spring column in the Times Magazine, I discussed our college's entry this year into the online market. This decision was a long time coming. We were not one of the early entrants into the field, and we made our decision to do so only after lengthy and very careful study. Let me provide you some strategic context about why we're doing this. Our college is engaged in 2 different models of teaching and learning, and we strive for excellence in both models. On the one hand, we are a traditional bricks and mortar campus of about 2,100 undergraduate students, 1,000 of whom live here on campus, and many more of whom want to live here and will when we can afford to put up more housing. These students study in relatively small classes with mostly full-time faculty. They play sports, they act in plays, they govern themselves. Once in a while, they organize to express their passions or to protest something. This is college as you remember it and as most people think of it. On the other hand, we offer a variety of flexible formats for non-traditional learners at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. Over the past decade, we've opened new campuses and introduced accelerated evening programming for working adults. We offer hybrid courses, so-called, that are partly face-to-face and partly online. And last year, we began offering some programs entirely online. 43% of the college's overall enrollment is now non-traditional students, and it will not be long before the non-traditional population surpasses the traditional population. Demographically speaking, the number of 18-year-olds in Minnesota and the upper Midwest is going down, and besides that, we don't want to get much larger in the undergraduate population than we already are. Students value the sense of community that comes with our relatively small size, and we do not want to lose that precious Benedictine touch. Our future growth, therefore, will come in the non-traditional market, and we believe that online education will probably see the most growth. Already, 1 in 4 students in the U.S. takes a course online. Our online population this year is 400, and we expect it to grow to 500 next year. Some people worry that academic quality suffers in the online format, but study after study concludes otherwise. There's no difference in learning outcomes. In fact, some students actually learn better online. There is a kind of an intimacy online that comes with relative anonymity. The real challenge for our college is not preserving quality. I'm comfortable with that. The challenge is integrating our Catholic Benedictine values into the online experience. And I can tell you that our faculty and staff who teach and advise online students are working thoughtfully and carefully in this regard. Online education, I think, is here to stay, and it will be a big part of our brave new world. And we are determined to do it in a way that preserves our Catholic Benedictine character. This brings me to a second priority for the school this year, which was campus-wide discussion of the Catholic tradition. For the past several years, we have concentrated on one of our 5 Benedictine values each year. We're doing this for a lot of reasons. One, certainly, is because in a very significant sense, the torch is being passed right now in terms of carrying the Benedictine values. If we look forward 10 or 20 years in terms of the demographics and ask ourselves, what will it mean to be a Benedictine college if there are fewer professed Benedictines? We conclude that the transition has to take place thoughtfully. So one of the ways we've been doing that is by spending a year as a community talking about each of our 5 Benedictine values. And this year, we talked about the 6th of our 5 Benedictine values, the Catholic tradition. Here's the question. What does it mean to advance the Catholic tradition in a community that is deliberately pluralistic? We were founded by Catholic nuns, but our Benedictine value of hospitality means that we welcome people from other religious traditions as full members of this community. And indeed, over the past decade, we have worked very hard to recruit international students who represent various traditions. We now enroll about 130 international students from 34 different countries. This raises the question about how a Muslim or a Jew, or closer to home, a Lutheran, can help us advance our Catholic mission. What does that really mean? One clue for how to answer this question lies in the very name Catholic, which has a marvelous ambiguity. It means both Roman Catholic and universal. This is the famous big C, little c distinction. In Catholicism, we have a particular historical religion that claims universal scope. A particular religion that claims universal scope. Is this just a bold but empty claim, as if to say, we're number one? I don't think so. I think there's something of significance here. On one level, of course, Catholics believe things that other religious traditions do not believe. The doctrine about Mary's bodily assumption into heaven after her death and the teaching on artificial birth control are 2 obvious examples of beliefs that Catholics have that not even all Catholics agree with, but certainly it distinguishes Catholics from other religions. But on another level, there are central Roman Catholic beliefs that do not distinguish Catholics from non-Catholics, but rather serve as lights to illuminate all human life. The authority of these beliefs comes not from a bishop, but from their ability to make sense of our common human experience. Example, the Catholic, not only the Catholic, but the Catholic belief that God is best characterized as love. What does that mean? Well, love means, on the one hand, feeling the feelings of others. Think about parenting. And on the other hand, love means acting in the best interest of the beloved. So there's a receptive meaning of love, empathy, and there's an active element of love, which is acting on behalf of the beloved. To say that God is love is to say that empathy and creativity is the final truth. That's what this is finally all about. Love is the point of human life. We ought to live so as to feel the feelings of fellow creatures and to work for their freedom. Now, if you think about that, it would follow that a college that deliberately designed its curriculum to cultivate moral imagination, moral sensitivity through the study of art, literature, history, and so forth, and to stimulate moral courage by engaging students in acts of social justice, such a curriculum would be a profoundly Catholic curriculum, because it would be trying to transmit the meaning of the Catholic belief that God is love by developing moral imagination and moral courage in students. Another example, the Catholic tradition regards the activity of human inquiry and human intelligence, our search for meaning, the way we tell stories to help make sense of our lives, our continued push beyond partial explanations or partial knowledge to try to get the bigger picture. The Catholic tradition regards that sort of thrust of human inquiry as really a journey towards God, who is the source of truth and of meaning. One author speaks of our steady striving for the infinite. In the Catholic tradition, the human hunger for knowledge, whether we know it or not, is the search for God. Paraphrasing Augustine, we might say, "Our minds were made for you, O Lord, and they are restless till they rest in you." So imagine now a college curriculum that is designed around this insight. Imagine a curriculum that would try to move students from their individual intellectual journeys toward ever larger and more encompassing narratives of meaning. So you would move students from, as freshmen, from autobiography, which is where they are when they show up, concerned about themselves. You would move them from that through disciplines like history, politics, study of culture, to begin to broaden their sense of truth, and ultimately move them to philosophy and theology as the study of the largest truths. Such a curriculum, in its deliberate, intentional expansion of human inquiry, would be deeply Catholic, precisely because it would be trying to show students how the search for knowledge ultimately culminates in the knowledge about God. Now, in both of these examples, we lift up Catholic insights about the human family that extend far beyond the Catholic Church. Love is the point of life. Now that's a pretty deep insight. And the other one, that we are restless creatures, often looking for love in all the wrong places, yearning to be reunited with our source. These are profound observations. And all of us can join hands across traditions to integrate these deep truths into the education of our students. In the end, advancing the college's Catholic mission is as much about making explicit this universal dynamic that is already at work in teaching and learning as it is about how many Catholic professors we employ or Catholic courses we teach. This discussion about our mission provides important context for the third topic I want to discuss with you this evening, the expansion of our science building. Before I talk about money and construction, let me set the science project within the overall story of the college's work. Our mission, as you know, is to provide intellectual and moral preparation for responsible living and meaningful work. And our vision statement says that we want to graduate thoughtful leaders who will serve and transform the world. It's pretty lofty rhetoric. But I can tell you that everyone who works here really believes it. We've tried to boil it down to 3 words: direction for life. Most people today talk about higher education almost exclusively in terms of workforce preparation. College should give people the skills and abilities to secure a good job and earn a decent wage. So far, so good. Workforce preparation is important, but it is not enough. Knowledge is power. The question is whether we will use it for good or for ill. After all, what's really the point of graduating finance wizards if they bring the country to its knees? Or computer scientists if they use their expertise for identity theft? What's the point in graduating people who are good at what they do if they are not also doing good things? Just being smart isn't enough. What the world wants and needs is smart people who have a moral compass. And this is why we believe at the college that education is a moral as well as an intellectual project. Moral does not mean moralistic. We're not trying to indoctrinate students by telling them what to think or believe. Rather, moral at the college means the cultivation of moral imagination and the development of moral courage. I mentioned above that this is a direct implication of the belief that God is best characterized as love. A truly educated person should be an empathetic person, someone who has been sensitized by studying world history and art and culture, someone who can really imagine other ways of being in the world than the one in which they have grown up. An educated person feels the dread of the professional fisherman as the oil slick approaches the Gulf Coast, remembers the daily plight of the Haitian long after the camera crews have left, and understands the fear of the frail elderly in the hospital bed. A truly educated person will have a conscience and try to be conscientious. He or she will have thought about what a good life really means and will try to live it. He or she will try to do the right thing and stand up against what is wrong or unfair. A truly educated person has educated both head and heart. This is the ideal of liberal learning in the Catholic Benedictine tradition that we try to honor at this college. We strive to be a community of conscience as well as a community of inquiry. All of this is relevant to the expansion of our science building. When you enter the nursing wing of the science building, you're met with the following words from St. Benedict stenciled on the wall. Care must be taken of the sick, that they be served in very truth as Christ is served. That always gets me when I walk into the science building. This is our college mission at work in the area of healthcare. So now we can talk about the building, but my point is the building is for the purpose of educating and graduating students who will treat us at our most vulnerable as if we were Christ. So, what's the case for the expansion of our science building? You've heard it. I'll make it briefly, and then I'll show you what it's going to look like. The building was built more than 40 years ago to serve 800 students. That's the case. Our science classrooms and laboratories now serve 3 times that number, and a lot has changed in 40 years in terms of OSHA requirements in laboratories. So we need more space and we need updated space. This is the highest priority of our current strategic plan, and 100% of the trustees have made financial commitments. It will create a new 40,000 square foot wing to enhance our existing 125,000 square foot science center. It will include 7 laboratories for chemistry and biochemistry, faculty student research areas. These are small areas where faculty and students can work together and leave an experiment up, not tear it down at the end of the day because they need the room for something else tomorrow. Classrooms, faculty offices, a magnificent atrium, and, you ready? 2 tunnels. One that will connect science to Tower, and the other will connect science to Summers. I think I could probably raise all the money just by saying we're building tunnels. The science initiative will be committed to environmental sustainability, promoting the Benedictine value of stewardship through achieving LEED certification status. So, The design firm that we're working with, interestingly, is Ellerbe Beckett out of the Twin Cities. John Lebowski is a trustee on our board, and his previous job was CEO of Ellerbe Beckett. What's interesting about that is they were the ones that helped design Tower Hall a century ago. So part of what John has been able to do is have Ellerbe do what is called a flyover, and you may have seen it, it's running somewhere around here, but in case you haven't, I'm now going to show you what this building looks like before we build it. Want to go ahead, Bob? Way cool, huh? We're going to break ground on this next spring and complete it by February of 2012. It's a $16 million project for which we intend to raise $6 million. The rest will come from bonding and equity contribution by the college. We've raised a little bit more than $4 million already. We're in the home stretch. As you know, these final dollars are always the hardest ones to gather, kind of like the last pounds on the diet. I'm grateful to all of you who have already made a commitment, and there are people who have made a significant commitment in the audience tonight. And to those who haven't yet, I ask that you consider a gift. This is a good time. We plan to open this expansion in 2012, which will be a part of our centennial celebration. And also the current lull in the construction industry gives us a good incentive to get the project done quickly. Well, it's almost 100 years since the sisters founded this college, and many generations represented here have been touched by the sisters' vision and by their values. I think it's what draws us all together in one community. It's our shared commitment to preserve and advance these values in higher education. So I say again, welcome home, Saints.
Thank you again, Dr. Goodwin. It's always good to hear from you. On behalf of the Alumni Association, I want to express our appreciation to your leadership, excuse me, and commitment to the college. It has served us well. Our program tonight is concluded. I invite you to join us in the Greenview Dining Room for the banquet. I understand food service has prepared some excellent food for us. If you're going to need a ride down to Summers, there are several shuttle vehicles available in the Mitchell parking lot. Thank you again for being here. I will see you at the banquet.